Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Blowout Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Hayes.
And I'm Dylan Bracha.
We had another week of questionable refereeing and some angry fans. This time it was the Colts fans.
Yeah, that was game of the year. If nothing was called questionable at the end there, and I was watching that game pretty thoroughly. It was just so crazy. Myles Garrett, shout out to him.
Yeah, jumping over the line,
Oh
making
my
some
God.
big plays.
I mean, the strip sacks he had.
An elite athlete.
He's so good. And watching him do all that and the Colts still put up the numbers they did. Minshew had another 2 rushing touchdowns. Insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was back and forth that game. It opens with, I think it was like a 60-yard run from Jerome Ford. And then the Colts match back with a touchdown strike to Josh Downs. Just a seamer, busted coverage. What a game that was.
Shout out to the Colts for putting up 456 yards on the Browns defense. Everybody all week, the conversation was, this defense is unstoppable. The 49ers had big problems with them. And the Colts make it look like it's nothing, though they don't win the game. But to put those kinds of numbers, it's a huge deal with your backup quarterback.
Yes, it is. And let's not go into – they were the number 1 ranked defense. They surpassed the Niners and the Cowboys. Like, they were ranked number 1. And, yes, they still made plays. They had interceptions and fumbles and whatnot. But they gave up some points, too.
Right, yeah. The Colts, in my opinion, nothing to be upset about here. I mean, maybe you'd like your defense to be a little stiffer, but it's 39 points. But to put up 38 on a team that's that good, I mean, major questions about the Colts offense. Going after Pittman's upset with his usage after the game with only two catches. He made the most of it with the long touchdown.
You gotta use Pittman more. I don't know why they're not using Pittman more.
Yeah, two receptions isn't enough for him, but good game for the Colts.
Back to the refs, though. I don't think the Browns – I mean, you can't say, but I don't think they win the game without those flags.
Probably not. The Colts, they were driving, and then it looked like the Colts were going to get a goal line stand there.
They looked like they were stopping them. That's game over.
They get 4 tries on the 1 yard line. That's
and that flag in the back of the end zone, like
not a good call.
I heard one of them call it, and they were like, "It not even Megatron is going up and making that grab.
Completely
like, it was just
uncatchable.
Not catchable in the slightest.
Not even close. It was well overthrown, and it's upsetting that it's every week at this point. And the NFL refs have said at this point, "Oh, we got the call wrong." They do it after the fact, but that doesn't do anything for anybody. And there's no recourse. The refs just kind of continue to make terrible calls week in, week out. Keep their
job, and they keep getting these opportunities. Like at some point, there has to be some. Like I know nobody's perfect,
right?
But if we're getting these calls wrong every game and just saying sorry about it after the game, what is that doing for us?
Right. There's human error, and that's always going to be at play, but. I just don't think we see – I mean, we do see egregious bad calls in, like, baseball, balls and strikes and things like that. But, some of these are just very strange. I mean, you can kind of just feel it, sometimes that they're like, oh, there's going to be a flag. You're watching a game, and it's like, the Chiefs are one of the teams, and then it's like, I don't know, some team that's not supposed to beat the Chiefs. And then, like, for some reason, every time – there's a good play, it's like, oh, there's a holding. And it's like, oh, there's a good play because there's a holding. But it's like, it's a late flag. It's pretty interesting. I see refs waiting to see the outcome of a play before throwing their flag.
Yeah.
Like
that's huge in basketball
be
now,
the
too.
Case. Yeah.
I watch a lot of shots go up, and they
and
watch the ball, and once it doesn't go in, they'll blow the whistle. It's crazy.
I don't understand that kind of thing. Like, a foul's a foul. Like, it... You'll see one thing I don't understand too, like there will be like it'll be at the top of the route like a hold or something, and then they'll call it later and they'll wait to throw the flag till after the fact and then call holding, or vice versa. They'll call pass interference when the contact occurred well before the ball was thrown. And it's just kind of, I don't know.
Like, I don't know what the solution, like, obviously we can talk about, maybe some sort of fine when they get them wrong. And it's like, I know the refs are making a good amount, but they're not making the players' amount. So, I mean, they'd have to be cheaper, but they have to actually mean something. So they're more on top of their job. Is the other solution, we just get rid of this. They can't throw a challenge in the last 2 minutes, because we're seeing a lot of these games decided in 2 minutes. And I think the Colts throw the challenge flag on that pass interference call.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's uncatchable. I mean, and they just messed up the pass interference reviews really badly. I mean, people aren't calling for it anymore, but the only reason they're not calling for it is because the NFL instituted the worst rule change of all time when they did that. The way they handled the pass interference didn't even make sense. They wouldn't change any of the calls. I think it was like one or two were changed over the course of an entire season when everybody was pretty much in agreement on them. You know, it should be reversed, but they just wouldn't do it. Flags should be review things that are a matter of fact, like they should be reviewable.
I would say. And I mean, especially we're talking like game on the line. This is going to decide either of these teams, you know, this is a huge game for either team. They're both on that cusp. Yeah. They're both fighting for a divisional spot in first place. Like, the Colts are right behind the Jags, and the Browns are right behind the Ravens. Like, this game is huge for both teams, and we're just going to say, throw the flag and decide it for you.
It's just tough that contact that's perfectly acceptable for an entire course of a game all of a sudden is no longer acceptable in the final couple minutes. Like the Super Bowl, for example, was a very physical football game last year. They let them play. They let them play. And then all in the end, Bradbury just barely touched them, did that every game, every play, the whole game. But all of a sudden, it's the last 2 minutes, and if they get a first down, the game's over, and now the flag's coming out.
Yep.
And I don't want to have to feel this way, but it happens over and over again. So
and no repercussions.
Same story. And yeah, I mean, there's no the refs just keep going, keep their jobs. I don't know. Human error is going to happen, but to me, I think it goes beyond that. I think it's happened too many times at this point that I'm just like willing to be like, oh, it's human error. I think there might be more to it, honestly.
And on top of that, we're talking there's 4 or 5 refs on the field, and half the time they're in discussion with the guys in New York watching. So, like, what are we doing here that this many people is getting something wrong, either upon review or on the field? Like, they come together a lot of the times and discuss it out, and not everybody has the best vantage points. You see flags get thrown from the guy who's nowhere near the play, saying there's a hold here or illegal touching here. You're like, I never understand it, but they talk it out and then they come together with this. How does this happen so much?
I mean, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I have held the belief for kind of a long time and I'll say like, oh, NFL rigged. I'm not saying like. Nobody was ever saying there was a script. And I honestly, part of me feels like that whole script talk, the meme, the NFL even makes a commercial out of it, misdirection.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I do see the NFL rigging games. Like, I do see the refs absolutely changing the outcome of games for certain, you know, and you see it aligns with the money at times. I don't even know what the vendetta is. I don't know. But I do see the refs changing the outcomes in games that there's no common sense to it. They're making outlandish calls that nobody's thinking of, and they just kind of appear out of nowhere and help the same sorts of teams on a week-to-week basis. Yeah. I'm not saying there's a script. That's ridiculous, but
it could be possible. I've never ruled it out.
Like an entire script. Like, it's not the WWE.
But like, that's what you say what's going to happen,
yeah,
and how it happens doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, like, yeah, there may be a script. Like, all I'm saying is it's not like, 4-yard run for Justin Fields here.
Yeah,
it's
I've
like,
never thought that.
Yeah, it's like...
But there is a potential that... I'm not saying this is true because it'd be outlandish for it to actually matter, but there is a potential that they sit down and they're like, all right, this game...
It could even be one guy.
Chiefs got to win this one, you know? And how it happens, it doesn't matter. You want to put up 40 points, they're putting up 45,
right?
You know?
It could be one guy, too, or a group of 3 guys, or one crew, or 2 crews, you know? Where they get together and they're like, yeah, we're going to do this. You know, me and this guy, we're going to agree here. And it's not as far-fetched as it seems, and there would be big money in it. You know, people.
Yeah.
The truth is always crazier than fiction. Like, there are people. If there's like money to be made, people will make it.
And I'm hoping that's not the case because everybody loves sports for you know, real timeness.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, I am a wrestling fan. Like, I love that as much as I love sports, but there is an aspect of sports of you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I would like to imagine that is true. I would like to imagine everybody gets there for the reason of, you know, we're playing this game for the love of it. And it is possible. I mean, how do you even start the college level? Like, imagine, like,
It's
there's
tough.
so many layers to that starts to get more
I
questionable.
know it's tough, but like either the real cynical side of me too. Like I watch Bears games. I'll want them to win, but even when something bad happens, I just know the NFL is gonna get their way at the end of the day. So I never get too upset.
That's
'cause
true.
I'm like, you know what? The NFL's gonna get what they want. They
Well,
got their Chiefs Super
They
Bowl.
do.
Got
I mean,
exactly what
they're
they
baby
want.
right now.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of the Bears, though,
Yeah,
break them down. This week
Tyson.
was something else from
there he
them.
was. He was. I feel like he was like my well kept secret for a while. Tyson Bagent. I was seeing that he was so good in the preseason. Just the pre-snap reads, checking defenses, moving a guy in motion just to see what he's getting. Is he getting man? Is he getting zone? He's reading the defense thoroughly, moving safeties with his eyes. I mean, everything you want, and just staying poised in a crumbling pocket, just remaining good, keeping the footwork going, consistent drops. The fundamentals are all there.
He looked really good for a quarterback
Poised.
who played D2,
Right.
not D1 with the top teams. So, I mean,
D2.
big credit to him.
Yeah. The thing with Tyson Bagent, and this is anecdotally, and this is a lot of athletes, but so with his football career, he takes the starting job in high school his sophomore year. And since then, he's never not started a game. He started every game in college in D2. Wow. He holds the record for most passing touchdowns in college football among all the divisions.
Okay.
So it's like 160 something. It's a really big number. So he's played a lot of football and he's very comfortable. And he gets the ball out quick. He played within the scheme. Last week he didn't try to do anything too crazy. He wasn't playing the greatest of. I'd like to see him against more formidable players, and we will see that this week with Khalil Mack and Bosa.
And I mean, it's a great start.
Yeah.
For especially a young quarterback, you never want to go in and have to do too much.
Right.
He went in there, he did his job.
Right.
He took a commanding lead. They were moving the ball fairly well.
Absolutely.
They were scoring touchdowns, which is something teams can struggle when you got a rookie quarterback in there.
Huge thing about him too is, well, for a couple, he wasn't putting the ball in danger, no turnovers, but
which is a great stat line.
Right.
To have.
Every drive ended in a kick. So kick, and there was no, which isn't completely even in his control, but they were long sustained drives. They were all at least like a few minutes, at least a couple. There was no like 3 and outs, or if there was, I don't really remember them. So the defense got to rest, and I saw the defense playing harder for Beijing because they knew that they were going to get a break after. They got 3 turnovers, and I saw them playing harder for Bagent than they did for Justin Fields. I really did.
And I mean, part of that could be also Brian Hoyer was the starting quarterback.
That's true.
O'Connell came in towards the end. He threw a pick too. It could have been that, they weren't facing a Jimmy G or a higher level. I don't know if there is a different output, but more rest will help with more output from the defense.
It was
they're
just
not
an
on the
effort
field the whole
thing.
time.
It was just an effort thing. I could just see them. They weren't like, oh, here we go. Because,
Yeah.
with Fields, he takes a lot of sacks. He 3 and outs are common with him. So the defense, that is a thing that will happen. They'll eventually get sick. And the reason this is such a big point is because the old Bears with Mitch Trubisky, when they were getting the 3 and outs, the defense essentially gave up on the team because of how frequently they were having to go on the field. It was like
it's tough
on the field for like 40 minutes a game at points, and that's a big deal. I just saw more effort from the team in general. They're playing hard for him. He's really solid. He's like really poised and really confident. We haven't seen the deep ball from him, which
he didn't need to.
Matters.
Which was good. But I mean, next week it might.
Yeah,
you might need to uncork something, and not showing something right away also could be helping for the film studies of the other team.
Yeah, I want to see him just fire the ball out quick, which should be the thing. That was he said in a press conference, was one of their emphases, is a coaching emphasis, just get the ball out quick. He listened. They need to do that again because you just got to get it out quick against Mack and Bosa. You're not going to have time, and that can get ugly. You know, Khalil can take over a game very easily, and he's going to be hungry. He used to destroy the Raiders, so watch out. I mean, he does not like playing the old team. He's going to be really hungry.
I mean, on top of that, you need the run game to step up, too. You need help. I mean, a quarterback can't do it himself.
Yeah.
So hopefully Foreman can keep it up, and Roshan should be back this
Roshan
week.
should be coming back this week.
So, I mean, I don't know what to expect out of the running backs there, but, you got to help out the quarterback because the Chargers can score.
Yeah, Roshan is really good, and Foreman's good too. I wouldn't want to have to go against those running backs. There'd probably be some injuries, honestly. They just hit people. Roshan especially just trucks people so hard. I mean, honestly, I feel like kind of good about that game, to be honest, especially if Bajan is playing, which he is playing quarterback. So I feel honestly kind of confident. They're getting Braxton Jones back from injury. Pretty much a healthy O-line besides Nate Davis, and I don't even expect him to play at this point. So they're a healthy team. They're one of them, probably the most healthy teams in the NFL.
That's good. I mean, besides Fields being out,
that
is a big one. But
no, it wouldn't seem like it, but they really are generally pretty healthy for the most part.
And Herbert's out too.
Herbert's out, and Eddie Jackson. But besides that, and those seem to be the big names. But
a lot of teams have 8, 9, 10 people on the injury report.
It's not anything.
It's not fun.
Yeah. So I honestly, I liked the game. It was nice.
It
was nice to get one.
Well, from one team, of your team, to mine, we somehow won last week too. Like I said in previous episodes, I've wanted us to lose. I'm at the point where it's time to tank, and they come out and beat the Bills of all teams. Crazy game. I mean, it was a fun game to watch. I mean, this is the Patriots I expected this year. A little more poised, a little more, defensive effort. We saw the pick from Josh Allen in the first row of the game. Like, he threw one right away to Peppers. And, I mean, the defense was holding them, out of the end zone for a while. It's like the flashes are there, and we're even dealing with injuries. Our best 2 defenders aren't playing, and they're playing like this. It's like, this is what I hope is for the future. Like, if this is a glimpse of next year and what they can accomplish when fully healthy and some moves are made, I'm really excited.
Yeah.
But I mean, going forward, I mean, we're only 2-5. Like, the playoffs seem bleak. So I don't know what their situation is, but I mean, Miami this week. If they want to do something, this obviously means they would have to win 8 or 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy task when you've started 2-5.
Yeah, the thing about these seasons, that was a big game for the Patriots. That was huge. Like, my biggest thought while watching that game was, man, Bill is getting a lot out of these guys. Like, he is getting a lot out of these players that most coaches wouldn't be getting. And it reminded me that Bill Belichick is a really good coach. Like,
he is a really good coach.
Though they don't have the best players, which is his fault, he is getting a lot out of them. And the news came out that day that he got the multi-year extension, so he'll be around for a while, and
a lucrative
that's a good
extension.
thing. That's a good thing.
Paid. Yes,
Bill
it
is good.
I
mean, if anybody's gonna right this ship, it's him. And maybe they do something in terms of personnel to change it, the talent acquisition, because that seems to be an issue for them. But they're still drafting well. He messed around with the free agencies. He almost broke his own rule.
Yeah.
Free agency almost never works. I mean, they do, but they're free agents for a reason. They don't get re-signed for a reason. Most good players aren't going to hit the market. It does happen, but
I mean, sometimes it's just, that a team's not willing to pay them what they think, or, they aren't fits. So, I mean, sometimes you see players that are fits for some teams go somewhere else and they're not.
Judon, for example, worked.
Yes.
Henry.
He's worked, but not like
not to the extent that you
not
hope.
To the extent that I think Bill hoped, and he's been probably our most consistent receiver though.
Yeah,
I mean, Mac looks to him and throws right to Hunter Henry.
It's nice to see Gesicki kind of get going.
Fine, this is his first touchdown. This is what we signed him for.
Right.
And that was part of the reason that I'm like, this season just seems so abysmal. They can't move the ball on offense. They're giving up so many points on the defense. It was just kind of like, everything you expected from this team, at least for the Pats fans, hasn't been shown. And, the first 2 weeks we had glimpses, and from that point on, it was just kind of, stagnant. So I'm happy for Bill. like that news came out. It's not like too much. Like he won't ever talk about his contract. That is one of the most kept secrets he always has. But multi-year is good, especially for the team. Like you want him around for coaching at least. Like he's such a good coach. 300 wins is a very big feat, and only 2 other people have done it. So let's give him his flowers when it's due. It is good. I hope they have a future in mind of what they can do, because I don't know what they have to do in the future to get back to a Super Bowl, but that has to be the goal for Bill. You know he wants one.
So my question now, what does Mac Jones have to do to keep the starting job for the rest of the year? What does he have to do?
It's tough.
And is he in position, right? How do you feel about him? What's our Mac meter at?
It's not high still.
Yeah.
Like yes, he had a great game against the Bills. The Bills, who were dealing with a lot of injuries in the secondary and on their defense. So it's I don't want to jump to conclusions here after one good week and say he's the guy again. That being said, though, I've been saying this for a long time. Mac still is a starter, at least for a majority of these teams that will be in the market for a quarterback next year. He has his option up, so the question will be, do they want him next year to be the starting quarterback? Because if not, he's gone. They will say no. They have Zappy at the backup for, I think, another 2 years before that option comes up. So he has to play well the rest of the year. He has to put up touchdowns, I would say, in the air, or at least, get him to the 1 yard line to hand off. Like, there has to be statistics from him that are above average, because there's going to be quarterbacks either in the draft, which I'm hoping that's not the case for the Patriots. That's another step back for them. But there is, like, Kirk Cousins is going to be on the market, who's something like I'm eyeing if I'm a team like the Patriots. Like, he's very good at this stage, and to have him just sign would be huge.
Right. So my understanding of the 5th-year option here is that at the end of this season, they will have to make a decision about whether or not they want Mac Jones for the 2025 season for a $30 million contract, essentially. But they will have him next year.
Oh, okay.
So that what they're deciding now is whether or not they'll have him for 2 more years or just the 1 more year. And the Bears were in the same position with Mitch, and they declined his after the 3rd year. So the Bears and the Patriots both are going to have to be making decisions on the 5th-year option. To me, I don't know.
Right?
I don't even know with
It's
Justin
tough.
Fields right now.
And $30 million's a lot too.
You probably would.
If he's not going to be the guy, you're not accepting it.
But you still might.
You
honestly,
might, but
just to trade him.
So looking at the Patriots, they have said multiple times they like Zappy. And if Zappy is as close to Mac as a lot of people say, which I don't agree. I think Mac is head and shoulders above Zappy, but a lot of people like to put him in that category together. $30 million's a lot for Mac.
He'd get declined right now.
I would say he gets declined. And then do you trade him? That becomes the conversation, because he's going to get a good amount. I don't know what the payroll situation is for him next year. It's covered by the cap, but it's a lot of money regardless.
Yeah, that's interesting. The only one that's definitely getting accepted is Lawrence.
Yes. So far, yes.
Fields is
He's up
totally
in the air
up in the
only
air.
because he has to put, him and Mac are in the same boat.
Yeah.
If they don't play to the level that they've been expected to play as a starting guy drafted, then it's time to move on, and they'll have to go somewhere else to prove it.
Yeah, I just think Bajent makes Fields look really bad.
So, I mean, it's one game so far he has.
I just think, I don't know. It's so weird. There's so many different variables because it's Bajent is this regime's guy, he's the guy that they were like, this guy can run our offense. So it's he's looking good in the offense. But you got to ask the question, why can't our regime build an offense suited for Justin Fields?
Which I thought was the plan when they drafted him.
But it wasn't. No, we never. We're let's just, I don't even know. They're trying to make him Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But it's all backwards. And Aaron Rodgers dealt with this. Aaron Rodgers couldn't do this stuff. They just kind of try to take the quarterback out of the equation. They just try to scheme guys open, make him do this cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
But it's you don't do that with a talented quarterback. And you got to just let Field, I don't even know. He's shot. His confidence is completely shot. He's gonna come in with a new mentality though, with this Bajent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to see how
hope.
Fields responds to it. I know he will, because I just know the type of mentality he has. He's a very competitive athlete.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be interesting. I bet Fields comes out hot, but at the end of the day, he's still
look around the league though. Right now, there's a lot of backups putting their starters on notice. Like Minshew has been playing good since coming behind Anthony Richardson.
Right.
And he's out for the year. So the Colts fans are obviously happy to have him.
This is good for Minshew.
He's getting a starting
He
job.
deserves it.
There's no way.
He deserves it.
Look at Tyrod. Like Tyrod's making Daniel Jones look terrible. And he signed a $40 million
Well, I just think
deal.
Daniel Jones is terrible.
Yes, like I'm in the same boat. I don't think he's all that. But if Tyrod is at his age doing what he's doing better than Daniel Jones for $40 million, like teams have to look at that.
I feel like Tyrod Taylor is like the opposite of Daniel Jones in every single way. Like Tyrod, it just keeps the ball. He doesn't turn it over. He just kind of like dinks.
He's
and
not
dunks.
rushing.
Jones is just this reckless.
Jones has been reckless
scrambler.
Yeah,
I don't
and
even
Tyrod
know.
is a scrambler. Like that's what he was great at.
Yeah,
when he was in the Bills and everything.
I like him on those short throws, West Coast, get him out of the pocket. But I don't know.
It's one of those things where Fields now is under a lot of pressure because not only do you have that first overall pick looming, because whether it's Caleb Williams or a different quarterback or whatever they decide to do, that pick is looming, and a decision will be made around quarterback if it's not Fields.
Right.
Now you have a backup who's also on your ass in terms of production, and if he's going to outperform, he's going to play.
The walls are closing in.
If he beats the Chargers this week, how do you say we're going to stop and put in Fields again? Like, it's one of those discussions that are going to have to be made.
Justin Fields, that's crazy. He hasn't even been that bad this year.
No.
Like, he's been pretty good. It's like, it's just like a weird situation.
Sometimes when teams are rolling, you can't change the formula.
Yeah, I think the Bears are going back to Fields when he's healthy, no matter what.
I think that's,
because
but
you
if
can't
they play good against, like, if they play good against the Chargers, I think that conversation comes up.
No, it'll come up. People will talk about it, but the Bears aren't going to think about it. Like, you're not going to just, like...
It's tough.
You're not just going to... Justin Fields has done nothing to, like...
So you're going to be in the same boat that the Pats were last year. When Mac Jones got injured and Zappe came in and beat the Lions and beat the Browns, which defensively they looked great again, the Pats. That whole season, Mac heard it from the fans.
Yeah.
It was, we want Zappe. And they had Matt Patricia at coordinator. Like, how much can you actually blame Mac? So, like, if Fields sucks again in any sort of game, if he throws one extra pick, if he fumbles, the crowd will let him hear it that they want Badgett, and that is never good for a franchise.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know, like, the pressure's going to be more on. It's so weird. It's such a weird situation. Fields has more talent, but...
He does.
That doesn't always matter. It was like, you see with, like, Brock Purdy. I don't know. Schemes are everything at the end of the day. I feel like this is stacked up against Fields, but I think if anybody can do it, he can.
I mean, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
I've always liked Fields' game, so I mean, let's see what he can do. He's got a lot of pressure on him.
He will be a good quarterback.
Yes.
Whether or not it's for the Bears is yet to be seen, but he will be a good NFL quarterback regardless.
Yeah. Well, we celebrated a holiday this Sunday.
We did.
We did. National Tight Ends Day. I hope everybody
Day.
celebrated accordingly.
I hope everyone. I know LeBron did.
LeBron definitely did.
LeBron
He was
celebrated.
shouting out
his favorite tight ends.
Yep, the ones he read online.
His totally original favorite. T.J. Hawkinson.
Yep,
and
Travis
Dawson
Kelce.
Knox.
Yeah, and you could just look at him looking away from the camera and looking at something else. Very funny.
I know.
But how about Travis Kelce on National Tight
Big
Ends
day, showing out for his girl.
Yeah, with her in the attendance, and I don't want to talk about the stupid graphic they put up.
I thought
his
it was
yards
funny.
per game with her there.
I liked it.
It is so ridiculous considering he dealt with an injury prior. And
the numbers don't lie.
They don't lie, but it should have an asterisk. Regardless, what a game from him.
What a game.
It was stellar.
Yeah. No, Kelce, I'm making me regret trading him in fantasy. I thought maybe, I don't know, get rid of the drama, get ahead of it, but Kelce, he seems to be loving it.
Yes.
179 for a tight end, that's almost unheard of.
I thought he was going to go for 200.
Yeah.
It was looking like it. It just seemed like all offense stopped in that third quarter. But what a game. He had a touchdown on that game, and he just caught everything. He was so much fun to watch.
You know he was ready for National Tight Ends
Yes,
Day.
tight ends get so fired up about
They
it.
do. Mark Andrews had a nice touchdown.
2 touchdowns
He
on
had
the
2?
day.
Oh, my God.
But the one you were talking about where he dove in
yeah.
was very good.
Yeah.
I played against him in fantasy, so I was rooting against those happening.
Yeah.
But he had a great game. I think he had, 4 or 5 catches?
Yeah, I think, what was it here? He had 4. 4 for
and he
63 and
he
2.
turned 2 into a touchdown.
That's
so,
what tight ends do.
Yep. Shout out to Goddard.
Goddard.
He got the Eagles on the board first.
Absolutely.
And had another stellar game, in prime time for tight ends.
Oh, yeah.
I forget the yardage, but I think he got close.
77 for Goddard. And I got another high-performing tight end making his emergence for the G-Men, Darren Waller. Throws in 7 for 98 and a touchdown.
This is what I want to talk about. Daniel Jones not looking good. This is why. They brought in Darren Waller, and he has not been being used.
Right.
And Tyrod comes in, and he's like, let me throw you the ball. I know who you are. You're one of the biggest tight ends in the league, in terms of name power. Like, let me throw to him.
Yeah, in terms of stature, too. He's 6'6". I mean, it's funny that, the other quarterback is able to find the generational talent, but for some reason, the $40 million quarterback can't seem to do it.
He refuses to throw to him. I've watched his stats. It's maybe 2 catches a game before. He hasn't done too much.
Daniel Jones is so bad.
Yes, and one season masked everybody.
It didn't mask me.
No, and they had an easy schedule and they won a playoff game.
I was so annoyed last year as the Giants just were slowly doing well. Man got $40 million for a 3,200-yard 15 touchdown, 5 interception season. What are we doing?
I will give him credit for the low turnover numbers because they weren't high, but 15 touchdowns is also low.
Okay, you did the bare minimum.
Right? Saquon had a great season. You rode that. Your defense was good. You played worse teams,
He stole it. He just stole all that money.
I could not believe 4 years, $40 million a year. It's crazy. But
I'm really excited for him to come back. If hopefully he's on the schedule. I don't think they are, but
so they play the Jets this week, and I don't know how much longer they're going to hold him out. I believe he's projected to play this week. And if I was the Giants, I would say if we want a chance at a winning season, we should ride. This is part of the momentum thing. Ride Tyrod. He almost beats the Bills. He goes out, owns the Commanders game for a good amount. He was controlling the game.
But all these egos are on the line now, all these people paying all them this money.
Well, when you pay somebody $40 million, it's hard to bench them.
What were they thinking? This is the type of thing that makes me think, man, maybe I have a chance at employment in an NFL front office because I know for sure I wouldn't do that.
Yep.
I'm not. I know I'm not that bad.
I think Deshaun really hurt the quarterback markets.
He hurt the market, but they kind of ignore his contract. His contract is seen as an outlier.
And it should be. But, it's tough because your agent's going to go and say, my guy's better than this guy, and he's making this much. And, it becomes, if they disagree, then it looks bad. So it's a sticky situation when he signs it. When Joe Burrow was in contract talks, he was like, I brought you to a Super Bowl. We came close. Yeah. I want to keep doing that. He got his money.
Right.
When Patrick Mahomes was up, he said, I've brought you a Super Bowl. I've done this, that, and the other thing. I'm an MVP.
Right.
You're going to pay me.
Yeah. And they restructure it. He gets whatever he wants.
He gets whatever he wants. He's got ownership in teams.
Yeah. Can we just talk about how bad of an organization the Browns are, though, for giving Deshaun Watson that contract? He's in the middle.
You can see desperate times written all over.
He's in the middle of these allegations. He's got
terrible
20, 30 women, probably more, accusing him of what they accused him of. And he gets this contract, right? The Browns maybe are trying to screw over the Ravens into making them pay Lamar a lot of money. I think that was it went into their equation.
They did say they were looking to mess up the quarterback market when they signed him.
But it blows up in their face. Everybody ignores the contract. They're just like, no, that is invalid.
And
so
the
now
rate he's been playing also helps.
Now they have this guy who isn't even playing in the games. He has some mysterious injury and nobody knows what it is. And he's throwing
getting
picks,
re-aggravated.
and he's like throwing it across the middle of the field while like running to his left. It's like, what is going on?
There is something wrong with his play style right now. Like, every time I've watched a game of his, he has not looked great at times.
He did have a good game. I remember it was against the Titans, and I was kind of waiting for Deshaun to kind of figure it out. I know he's capable. The Titans, 81% completion, 289, 2 touchdowns. Like, he was starting to figure it out, and then maybe I don't know what this injury situation is.
I'm not sure. It seems really weird. He was cleared to play 3 weeks ago, and he decided, I'm not good enough to play, so you're going to start P.J. Walker.
He didn't look good enough to play. I don't know why, but...
But this was 3 weeks ago. Nobody knew anything of this injury. They went on bye and everything, and he was like, I'm just not good enough to play right now. So he finally comes back in this last game, and he didn't look great. He throws that pick. He's on the ground, and people thought it was a concussion thing. His head bounced. He looked distraught coming off the field. He goes in the tent. He clears concussion protocol, comes back out to the sideline, and the whole time everybody's so confused. Decision, he said he wasn't going back in.
He said in a press conference today, why wouldn't I want to play? I just worked my ass off for 2 years to get back to play. If it doesn't come from me, all that other stuff is BS.
So who's coming out and saying Deshaun is saying I'm not good enough to play? Because doctors have been saying he's cleared to play.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's all the sourcing I would need. Just if doctors are saying he's medically cleared.
Yeah, I mean, he's out there like swearing in the press conference now. Yeah, I mean, saying like, I came to play, I want to play.
But that's what I would imagine from a quarterback, and a lot of players in general say, don't take me out of the game. I like to finish. I want to play.
In Deshaun's defense, I'm willing to say, okay, maybe it's not right. And you know your body. Yeah. Like if you're throwing
and it hurts.
Yeah,
every
the doctor
time.
said I can play, but it's like I'm in crippling pain, And then maybe you just tore it all that thing, but like maybe it's not working. I don't know. I'm willing to believe that, but
if he's gonna come out and say, I am trying to play, then something isn't adding up here.
He says he doesn't know when he'll be able to play. He continues to rehabilitate the shoulder. He doesn't know how long it's going to linger. Right now, we're not in a space where I should be there, he said Thursday. I'm trying to get to a percentage where I can go out there and be very, very beneficial for the team.
So now, that's a good point. Like he's saying he can't play.
Here's one thought, too. And the Browns don't need exceptional quarterback play to win games necessarily.
It's shown.
They will in the playoffs.
They'll need it in certain games on their schedule too.
So I guess maybe now listen to the language. I'm trying to get to a percentage where I can go out there and be very, very beneficial for the team. PJ Walker can be beneficial for the team by just not turning the ball over, essentially.
But he's been doing that.
Right. He has been. So
I think he's 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason the Bears chose Bajan over Walker. But
but like that's not to say that Walker hasn't.
I'm not saying he's bad.
Good.
I'm just saying it's like, you can probably do. I like PJ Walker, but he is not the ideal backup quarterback necessarily.
It's just probably because he's not like a spring chicken in the league. Like he's been around football for a little bit. I think he's like 27.
Yeah,
he's in that range.
And when he was in the XFL, I was like one of the biggest voices saying, "Get this guy in the NFL." But
me too.
Now it's like, okay,
it's a different animal.
Yeah, I mean, and he's played some decent football for them. Like he's 2-0. Yeah, like he's 2-0 at the end of the day. You can't knock that.
Right.
Hopefully Walker can continue to play games. But I guess my point is, if Watson is hurt, and he doesn't feel he can benefit the team, that makes sense to me. Like,
it makes sense. And there's two types of players. Lamar was another one who said, I am not fit enough to play, and I'm not risking my career to do it. I respect that.
Right.
There's also the other types, like Baker did in his last season in Cleveland. He played through everything that was going on. Phillip Rivers was another guy who did that. It
can be a problem.
They take hits, and they say, we're good enough to play. Stafford, you know that infamous clip where he pops his shoulder back in, and he's like, I'm going back out there, throws the game winner. Right. Some players have that mentality that they have to be the ones.
Right.
Others know that for their body and for their likeness, they have to take the step back, and they have to leave it up to the rest of them.
It's almost a mature decision to... maybe Deshaun's worried about putting bad tape out there. Maybe he's on social media too much.
That's another thing
That could
because
be,
he
who
hasn't
knows?
looked great at times before the injury too. And we're talking preseason, he didn't look good. He's shown flashes where he isn't the Deshaun Watson from the Texans.
Yeah,
and we have to get over that.
PJ Walker has not been playing good football at all. He's the 50% completion percentage.
Yeah.
They got to get.
Well, I will say to his credit though, they faced the Niners and the Colts, in which both those defenses are pretty solid, if not really good in the Niners case.
Browns reward backup PJ Walker with a contract? Really?
But he's led them to 2-0 against two good teams.
That just surprises me.
It is surprising.
I mean, he hasn't.
I don't know. It's one of those things where situations have to be looked at. But
I guess. I mean, well, that's the same team that gave Watson the.
Well, I mean, in their eyes, they don't know what they're getting out of Watson anymore. Like, is he going to play again this year?
Yeah.
We don't know. Like, he keeps saying he's not good enough, and when he comes back, he gets hurt the same game.
Right.
They might decide we can't play you this year, or we have to wait 6 games, and we're going to put you on IR, and PJ Walker has to be the guy this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in there because I'm not a fly on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, teams should have gone for Minshew.
Yeah.
Our team should have gone. I don't know.
I think a lot of teams are kicking their butt right now because they didn't look his way.
Jerry Jeudy. Extensively shopped in recent weeks, but there is very little interest. That's not a big surprise to me.
Yeah. Well, the trade deadline is something to watch.
It is.
The Titans are looking to shop everybody. The Broncos are looking to shop anybody they can.
I'm seeing Montrez Sweat and Chase Young are both on the block. Some teams.
Chase Young on the block was one of the craziest names I've heard.
The Ravens are interested in Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
I've been seeing them as a possible suitor.
That would be a crazy.
Teams are interested in Jalen Johnson. I don't believe he'll be available for trade. I think he is the highest graded corner in the NFL right now.
Really? It's only because Gonzo got hurt.
Yeah.
I'll give him. Gonzo was playing.
They could be either. But Jalen is
he's been playing
excellent
great.
press corner.
Yeah, he's been fun.
What scares me about Jalen's great, but I think the Bears would struggle against the Dolphins really badly because their corners are like big press corners. Like it's just, I don't know, that's scary. But other trade guys, Brian Burns potentially, Carl Lawson from the Jets.
I'd be surprised if the Panthers move him though, because if they want to rebuild, I would still keep him. They're in the rebuilding process, but I don't know. They don't have a first round pick, so maybe that does hurt them, but.
I'd like to see the Browns go for a receiver. We saw the Chiefs already made the move to get Mecole Hardman.
I don't know any other receivers really on the block.
Yeah.
If they're not going to trade for somebody on the Broncos.
Cortland Sutton, potentially. Those are the two there.
Yeah. I've heard the Colts have been interested in wide receivers from the Broncos. And I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, bring in someone from I think the Colts actually are in a pretty good position to potentially go for the division win there with Minshew because Minshew is actually capable.
D-Hop's on the block.
Position.
I mean, he was in discussion of those teams.
Titans already want to get rid of him.
Yeah, they're shopping everyone. I mean, we saw it. They already traded Byard.
Yeah, I could tell from week 1 that team was not going to be good.
I had a feeling as well.
They are no fun.
So, I mean, I couldn't believe he chose to play for them. Like, I firmly was like, he's going to sign with the Pats and all is going to be well. He decided to go play there, and he's already on the trade block. I wouldn't say it's because of him, but...
Oh, this is interesting. Carolina Panthers should trade. I was thinking that would be that would make sense. I would be upset if the Panthers got DeAndre Hopkins. But the Browns should trade for DeAndre Hopkins ultimately.
Browns should. Colts could. I know the Bills want another wide receiver. They've wanted one for a couple years, and they never make a real move at one.
I feel like they'd waste him, to be honest. I do just see them wasting him. I'd like to see him go to a team that actually needs him. Like I like how the Panthers are utilizing Thielen. It makes me happy to see.
Really good this year.
Because how many times have we seen like really good receivers go to contending teams and they get play 25% of the snaps?
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at that with Julio right now. I don't know how much he's actually going to play this year.
Julio's probably over the hump, but
I agree. I don't know. That's just depth at this point for them.
They're just I mean,
He's
maybe
ring
he
chasing.
can help. Maybe give AJ Brown some pointers. They're kind of the similar
yeah.
players.
I don't think AJ Brown needs too many. I
No,
mean,
no,
he's,
probably
I think
not
number
at this
2 in the
point.
league right now in receiving yards.
Yeah. Yeah, the trade deadline should be interesting. It seemed the last few years it's been a little more active.
Yeah, I'm very excited next
Yeah.
week when week 8 is set and done and that window closes, I believe Tuesday. I'm very excited for us to come here and be like, whoa.
Yeah,
because every year there is a couple
Hopefully
whoa
there's
statements.
some big ones. Yeah.
Um,
Is the deadline at 4 next Tuesday?
I believe so.
Perfect.
So keep your eyes open for it.
Yeah,
there
be
will
ready.
be trades up until then and probably after finally getting broken.
A little couple after.
I mean, people have tried to will. I've seen a lot, ESPN and everything, trying to say Giuseppe's on the market. I haven't heard him actually on the block.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. You're probably not getting.
I mean, he
much
just
for
hit the
him
game
at
winner this
point.
week for us. I'd hope they want to keep him around
Yeah,
for the future.
he's probably better on the team than
I would like to see somebody like Juju or Devontae Parker go. I'd like a couple younger guys to be featured. I mean,
Yeah.
Jalen Reagor just got promoted. I'd like to see him play.
Well, I mean,
Pop Douglas has been great. Kendrick Bourne has and always will be good for us. Let's just keep him on the team, please. So I don't know. Bill loves him. To my knowledge, he really does like him and doesn't want to see him go anywhere. So I'm hoping that stays that way going forward.
yeah, Patriots don't strike me as a team that.
I don't think they're
seems
going to
to
go
be
in
too
for
active.
anything. I would imagine we trade something out and get a pick.
They don't even honestly have veterans that are like
Not
that.
really.
To be honest with
No.
you,
They don't.
maybe Peppers.
Oh, no. Please keep Peppers. He has by far been the shining spot of the defense this year.
I'm not saying send him out. I'm just trying to think
A
of
veteran
someone
guy.
that might fit the
I
criteria.
think he fits the scheme is what he does. He is so good back there with Duggar. But maybe Jalen Mills. I've heard his name. I like Jalen Mills.
I just remembered some Kevin Byard went to the Eagles.
Yeah, I mentioned that, and it was just
did you?
it was crazy to me. And they got him for almost nothing.
Yeah, no, that'll help the secondary. They
Yeah.
needed it.
I mean, we're talking they've gotten AJ Brown now and Kevin Byard, 2 great players.
Yeah, they kind of just get it. They grab all the best defensive backs that nobody wants for some reason. Like nobody wanted Bradbury anymore. Nobody wanted Byard.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Slay, Byard,
Slay,
and Bradbury is
good,
going to be
same
a
thing, same
nasty
deal.
backfield.
Yep. Good for them.
Yeah.
Eagles probably gonna be the NFC.
Yeah, they're
Representative,
right now
I'd
the front
say.
runners
Yeah.
again. I mean,
Absolutely.
the Niners got to figure something out. The Cowboys got to figure something out.
Yeah, they're the only team that I'm like, oh, they're complete.
I
They're
thought the
good.
Lions would have had an argument, but this week kind of took them down a notch.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
Lions. I wouldn't say I wasn't expecting a blowout, but I was
No.
expecting the Lions to look a little more human against the solid team.
They looked
you
human.
know,
They definitely did.
just because the Ravens experience, they're a unit. They've been there for a while, and the Lions are the new kid on the block.
Well, fun fact about Lamar: 16-1 against NFC teams.
Really, that's interesting.
Pretty crazy. And
Yeah.
the only loss, the Giants.
Interesting.
Yep,
The
Daniel
Giants.
Jones.
Huh? I don't even remember that.
I don't
That's funny.
remember, but it was actually last year.
Oh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Lamar was playing.
Yeah,
It was one of those
It
weird.
was one of those Giants wins last year.
Yep.
Yeah, they were kind of annoying with it last year.
Yeah. So you want to get into some picks?
Yeah, let's do
Make
it.
some predictions. Last week, abysmal from us.
It was a tough week.
We tied with 6 each.
There was a lot of upsets
There
last
was
week.
so many
It
upsets.
was a tough one.
But it was a fun week of football.
It was
to
a
say the
fun
least.
week for sure.
Let's start with Thursday night's game. We got the Bucks taking on the Bills
Bucks, Bills in Buffalo.
in Buffalo.
The Bills are just struggling terribly.
Yeah.
This I'd like to say this is one where you can right the ship, but maybe not. I know the Bucks are dealing with some injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Godwin, I know, is hurt. Baker Mayfield, I know, has an injury too.
He's been dealing with it. Yeah.
Is he gonna go?
I believe he's
barring the last
playing.
minute, will be activating Josh Norman and Andy Isabella are coming to the active roster for the Bills. There's serious discussion. This is unrelated about Derrick Henry to the Bills, so that would be weird.
I doubt it. They have 3 running backs. Well, 2. I take that back about Damian Harris, but they have 2 that have been very solid for them. There's no way they would try for Derrick.
I'm taking the Bills. No, Bucks.
You're taking the Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay, I have the Bucks riding the ship this week just because I look at the Giants game. They didn't play well, but they did enough to win.
Yeah.
Regardless of that again, the holding call that
Yeah.
they never threw the flag on. But I think they can do enough against the Bucks to win.
So you have
at
the
home.
Bills.
Yeah, I have the Bills.
Okay, and I'm taking the Bucks.
And you're taking the Bucks. I mean, this could be a game where the Bucks, they magically play great. Like last week, I had them winning, and they couldn't beat Atlanta. I think the Bucks can steer the ship right at some point, but tough game against the Bills, whether their defense is 100% or not. At Orchard Park, I'm taking the Bills.
Baker Mayfield is 4-0 on Thursday night, and he makes it 5-0 tonight.
Oh, that's an interesting stat.
Yeah.
He's not lost on Thursday
Prime
night.
time.
Prime time Baker Mayfield.
Prime time Baker. Oh, this is his night. This is his night. Bills are struggling.
Fun.
Yeah.
This would be fun. And I mean, who's going to see this coming? I mean, you're predicting it. But like, who would have saw this coming weeks ago, though?
Yeah.
Like, before the season started, people wrote the Bucks off before it even started.
Yeah.
And the Bills were a Super Bowl contender. We're talking about 4-3 versus 3-3.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody saw these being the records, and here we are.
I think that there's just so much negative energy right now with the Bills, a lot of turnovers with Josh Allen.
Yeah,
I think the Bucks seize it. They seize the day, siege the day. That used to be their.
I mean, Bills lose. Are we gonna see a tantrum from Steph Diggs?
Oh yeah,
Are
it's a weekly thing at
a
this
demand
point.
of trade.
Yeah, I mean we
Can
could
that come up?
We could. I mean, I don't think anything's out of the question at this point with the Bills.
He just signed a contract, and he's always like, "Oh, I want to be here till the end of my career," and it's like. Watching you on the sidelines does not show that.
Nah, Diggs is a diva.
Did you see him in the last?
I
think it was the last game or the game before. He was like coming over, barking at Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And like the lineman had to they told him off, and he was saying, go after yourself and everything. I was like, yo,
I don't know
what is going on here.
I wish Stefan the best, but he seems like a problematic individual.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I mean, I don't know how much I'd like to.
How
spend
much drama can you stir up?
I couldn't spend an extended period of time with Stefan Diggs,
right?
I don't think.
I mean, for as much as you get out of him, you're getting such just a downer.
How many times, like, even I'm just thinking from a couple weeks ago, that story where the reporter's like, yeah, Stefan will just tell you to go F yourself or something like that.
Crazy.
And I remember listening to that thinking, oh, yeah, Stefan tells people to F themselves, like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, whatever. Like, that's not a huge, like, people were trying to make it out to, like, be, like, this big mark on his character.
Watching it on the sidelines
I know
quarterback,
he is.
Right there is enough for me to be like,
I think I know. I have a general feeling about the type of guy Stefan Diggs may be. And I'm not saying he's a bad person. I don't think he's a bad person who does bad things. I just think he might generally cause incohesion in large groups of people. And I just think he might be that type of guy, and I think it's pretty evident. But we've known that for a while. I mean look at when the Vikings were telling...
when they were ending his tenure in the Vikings uniform and he demanded a trade then.
Oh, I'm talking about when all of his teammates were asked, who would you not want to date your sister?
Yeah.
And it was Stefan Diggs. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying he might rock the boat a little bit. And like... There's a lot of evidence of that.
A lot of drama stirred out of him, and that's not good on the front office.
He's a diva. He's the reason that wide receivers have the stereotype that they do. He's just like his forefathers,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's just how receivers are going to be like that till the end of time.
It's just
because they rely on
at.
other people
They do.
to give them their production.
And I just one thing about him, I've never seen him really own up to any like accountability. And like he doesn't need to as a wide receiver. He demands more touches all the time, and I'm like he gets 10 looks a game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, It's just to me, it's like you can't carry the Bills. Like it takes a team effort. Especially out of like, no matter how good A.J. Brown is, if he doesn't have Devontae Smith on the other side or DeAndre Swift in the backfield, Jalen throwing you the ball, like it doesn't.
Jalen throws dimes. Yes. I love him. He's
and on
so
top
cool.
of that, he can run for 30 yards, and like you have to worry about that. It's so much you have to incorporate in an offense, and Diggs just has to take that in for a second.
Yeah,
just a little bit about him that.
I mean, it's too bad. I mean, Josh Allen's such a good quarterback for him. They're
right?
It's a good combo, and honestly, I think they'll be okay. Like we'll probably be at the end of the season. Diggs has 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns. Has a great year. And I think everything will probably be okay. I mean, but Yeah, Bills have problems, but I'm taking the Bucks. Yeah, more
Okay.
problems. Let's keep it
Yeah.
going. I like this.
I mean,
Chaos.
it'll make for an interesting game. I do think it will be a good game, though. I mean, the
Definitely.
way the Bucks have been, or the Bills have been playing, it's been like, oh, teeter-totter, are they going to lose? I mean,
Yeah.
the Giants game, they should have lost. The Pats game, they did lose. Like, those are two games that they were favored in by a good. They were favored in by a touchdown against us,
Yep, and they couldn't get it done.
and they couldn't get it done.
Right.
So it's crazy. But let's
Jets,
move on.
Giants, 1:00, and at MetLife, of course. But the Giants will be the home team.
The Giants, that might mean a lot for this game.
It will mean the logo is still the
logo-
NFL logo,
Is
I
it?
think, in the middle. But I don't know what shade. It will be blue in
It'll be
MetLife.
blue.
It will
All
not
right.
be green.
Well, I'll tell you this: there'll probably be a lot more Jets fans there. I think the road team's going to have a staggering show of support for them, just because of recent times. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest.
This game's tough.
These teams are both terrible in kind of the same sorts of ways. Do the Giants have Daniel Jones? I think that I'm taking the Jets.
You see, that's what I was about to like. I was just about to look that up. I don't know how much it changes either way. Like, does Daniel Jones do enough? Can Tyrod do enough? Because that's a good
I think he's actually
defense.
like a detriment. Like,
I would like to say if Tyrod plays, they stand a better chance.
he's stuck in injury limbo. He's not cleared for contact.
Ooh, that's really bad. We're recording on a Thursday. That's really bad
Right,
for a
yeah,
Thursday. You know,
yeah.
you have 2 more days before a game. I don't think he plays. If he's not practicing by tomorrow, he
This
can't
is
play.
tough.
But
I
no
mean-
contact.
I
That
mean-
means you're not playing.
Well, yeah, but it's just like we need to like make sense of these. This like no Daniel Jones is a good thing for the Giants.
I would say it's a good thing for the Giants. Like, I am on board with that. But you know, it becomes one of those things. I'm gonna look on fantasy. Daniel Jones is the one projected to play. He's still questionable.
I think the Jets are gonna win this game. Yeah, no, the Jets are definitely gonna win this game. Yeah.
He will be a limited participant in Thursday's practice, but he hasn't been cleared for contact.
I'm taking the Jets.
How can you play a game if you're not practicing with contact? You're telling me the first sack he takes?
Yeah, that's
he's
what
gonna be out of
McCaffrey
the
did
game?
last. He didn't practice all week, and he
That's
had
true.
he had a good game. So
Man, it is tough. I would like to say the Jets win this game as well, but I can see this going the Giants' way. It sucks because I think if Tyrod's playing, they ride momentum.
yeah,
Like, as good as the Jets defense is, we're looking at the Giants defense that's been really good 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And Zach Wilson isn't that great.
right.
And that offense doesn't have that much that really appeals to me. Like, I think we might see a Breece Hall 60-yard run at some point for a touchdown. Maybe one defensive breakdown. But can Garrett Wilson get that much separation and carry the offense a little bit? Because it can't be the Zach Wilson show, right? This is a tough defense. They held Josh Allen in check.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think Zach Wilson's just been doing better. Holding on to the ball. Coming off the bye, I like the Jets here all day.
Man, I want to be different. Give me the Giants.
Right.
I do think if Tyrod plays, which reading this, it looks like that's the trending case. I think he's smart with the football, and no turnovers is a good thing against the Jets team. If you can at least have no turnovers, you're setting yourself up for a better shape than Daniel Jones throwing a pick here and putting him at least in field goal range,
Yeah.
That's what the Jets have strived off so far, and they don't have the stellar quarterback play that is Aaron Rodgers. He's not playing.
Yeah, no, I don't know. The Giants have a solid defense,
Yeah.
but I think the Jets are a better unit. I think they have some,
They are a
some
better unit.
spiritual stuff.
But the
going with
Giants have
Rodgers.
looked
I don't know.
really good these past 2 weeks.
They have. The Giants have been better, but I don't know. I'm not a believer. I was last week, but I think
Yeah.
the Jets are just kind of formidable. I don't know. They were a Super Bowl team without Rodgers. We can't forget it.
Yeah, a lot of Giants fans said the same thing.
Yeah. Well, they were wrong, though.
They were wrong, but they won a playoff game, and the Jets didn't make the playoffs.
Well, right, but the Jets. I'm
just
saying.
making the argument.
I'm saying with Rodgers, they were a Super Bowl
Yeah,
team. So
It's a discussion. But
Yeah.
I'll take the Giants and hope Tyrod plays.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got Jags Steelers, in that 2017 AFC Championship rematch in Acrisure. It was Heinz at the time,
man.
but now it is Acrisure, and
That was a game back then.
it was a game, and
This is a tough one because I refuse to pick the Steelers. And last week they beat the Rams. I don't know if that's because the Rams aren't good or the Steelers are. Like every week I have a different opinion, especially those two teams.
Well, the
I don't
Steelers
like either of them.
definitely have a good defense.
They have a good defense. The Jags have a good defense too.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good offense too. Travis Etienne has been a menace on the field. He has 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games.
I wanted to pick the Steelers, but the Jags are gonna roll there. I have the Jags.
I don't know if they'll roll. I see a lower scoring game, but I think the Jags can do enough to win. I mean, this could go either way. The Steelers either are going to show up OD or don't do enough to win them the game on defense.
So that'll be a tough game. There will be a lot of turnovers.
And they're home. That throws a wrench in, but I'm gonna take the Jags.
All right, Eagles Commanders in Washington. The Commanders are in bad shape.
Yeah, they are.
But they play the Eagles tough.
They do. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those divisional games that the Eagles don't want to see in the calendar.
I think this is the game where the Eagles actually do better. I think they'll win.
Well, last game they went to overtime and barely scraped out of there with the win. I do think, I agree. I think the Eagles put on a show.
I think they have an easier time.
I think
Hurts.
they came off beating Miami. Pretty well. It was a closer game towards the end, but they look good. I like the Eagles this week, too.
I think it's going to be one of those games for Hurts. Rams, Cowboys in Dallas.
I'm going to keep that one quick. I think the Cowboys win. Their defense can be too much for Stafford. And I love Cooper Kupp and that Puka Nacua connection. Those two look amazing, but we didn't see it last week. And I don't know if we'll see it again this week.
Yeah, this one's honestly, I feel a little closer for me. The Rams. This is tough.
It is tougher,
honestly,
but
really
I
tough.
felt better about this one than a couple others.
I just think the Rams have an actually decent offense.
They do, but they're not performing well. And you know why? Because their quarterback's Matthew Stafford, and he's at the point of his career where he's not going to win you games.
I'm a big believer in Stafford. I don't have to disagree with you.
I'm not. At his age, he's just not. He's not for them. We're looking at their team being at that age. Aaron Donald, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not prime Aaron Donald. He's still a great defender, but I don't know what else that defense can bring to slow down CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I guess I'll take the Cowboys there, but
I don't mean to persuade you into my picks. But that's my reasoning coming out. I'm just
kind
not
of thinking
high on the
about
Rams.
it more. I don't know. Yeah, they're not crazy. They're nothing. All right,
I don't know.
Vikings, Packers.
Man, this has become a game.
It's an easy one for me.
This feels easier than it should be, just because of what happened last week, right? This should be the Vikings.
All day. The Packers are not good. They are not a
the
good
Vikings.
team.
The Vikings come out, not only beat the Niners, but Kirko in prime time. What a game for him. Jordan Addison shines bright in the absence of Justin Jefferson, and they stunned the Niners. You know, I believe that was in San Fran, right?
Yes.
So talk about all the cards against you, and you stack the deck and do it yourself.
So the Packers have lost to, in my opinion, two of the worst teams in the NFL the last 2 weeks, the Raiders and the Broncos.
And that was coming off their bye.
Right.
I don't know if Jordan Love, I think Jordan Love is starting to hit a wall. I think there's enough tape on him where defenses are reading him a little bit better. And I like Jordan Love. I think he has a future in the NFL, and I think his future is with the Packers. I just think this year is going to get increasingly harder for him.
Yeah, Jordan Love is honestly struggling this year. I mean,
he started off really good.
Well, yeah, he played the Bears, but he 57% completion. He's going to have to pick it up.
His interceptions are rising too.
Yeah, 7 picks. It's going to have to be better. He threw 3 picks against the Raiders. That's a bad defense. I'm sorry. That's a very bad defense.
How many? He threw at 1? He threw 1 against the Broncos. I know he had at least a turnover.
One pick.
I like the Vikings. I came into this season saying I was higher on the Vikings than they were. They haven't performed, but I think they're gonna start gaining some momentum towards that. I mean, I like
agree.
Kirko, man.
They're getting hot. They're more talented. They have a
Yeah.
good offense and a bad defense, and
Sometimes the offense can shine enough.
they will win this week.
I think so too.
Falcons, Titans,
Falcons all day.
easy.
Falcons
Falcons
all
They have
day.
a solid defense, and they're probably playing backups, Will Levis and Malik Willis. I picked up Falcons defense in fantasy.
I just like the Falcons right now. They're coming off a huge win, and they want to hold the division for a couple weeks, I imagine.
Yeah. No,
If your prediction comes true and the Bucks win, they have to win to keep first place.
right.
That's not even talking about the Saints, also right in that range. I like the Falcons, and I don't like the Titans.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just how it is for this
Yeah,
matchup.
I think that's an easy one. I just think the Titans are really bad. I think
They
just
are
about
really bad,
anybody
and they
will
can
beat
show
them.
up at any point, I think, because they had that game against the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, they can, do it, but,
But I just don't see, and with everybody on the block, I just don't know.
yeah, those
Their
are,
morale is down.
the Titans can beat teams that have very bad run defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is not the case with the Falcons, unfortunately for
Their
them.
defense has played great.
And then our next game, we have Patriots and Dolphins in Miami.
Well, here's the kicker. Tyreek Hill is doubtful to play. Last I checked, they were talking about it yesterday. They don't think he's going to play. That's a huge loss with Waddle also questionable. And that's, again, if that is the case. He could miraculously play again. But we are talking about in Miami, and we are talking about my Patriots. I don't think they have enough momentum. I really don't. I want them to lose, and I think that's the case this week. So give me the Dolphins.
I'm taking the Patriots. I just am. I don't know why, but they're not losing to the Dolphins twice in the same year.
I would see. Here's the thing. I would love it because I hate all the talk about Tua.
Yeah.
And how he's gotten the better of us since it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And I would love to erase that record and put an L there. And I would love to knock them down a perch after they lost last week.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think what's best for us is not winning. And I don't know if we have a roster right now to beat them.
Right. This is just based on the fact of how they played the Bills and the Jets so far this season because they're both good teams.
They played Miami well at home, but the problem was they're in Miami this time.
That's kind of my rationale. I think
fair.
they get one here.
Okay.
Saints, Colts, in Indianapolis.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, this is a weird game.
This is a tough one.
The Saints right now hate Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Oh
my God. Did we talk about? We didn't. Did you see the play where he airmailed out of bounds the ball for Chris Olave and then immediately started screaming at him?
I saw that.
Oh my God. How could you? I was
watching that live and
Yeah.
being so confused. Like, why is he mad?
I'm like, dude. First off, yes, he let up on the route, but he was covered. It was not there.
It just wasn't there.
And you airmailed it out of bounds.
Derek
and yes,
Carr
that's
doesn't make the best decisions. When I watch Derek Carr, what I notice him doing is he really likes to play within the offense, but he doesn't. He's very rigid, so he doesn't when something's not really there, but it's oh, he has the step. If I put a perfect ball right here, it's or you could go to your second read.
Yeah, he doesn't. I felt like he wasn't looking around that game.
Derek Carr is very rigid. I think that's a good word to describe him.
Yeah.
I like the unrigid quarterback, Gardner Minshew, who will just go for 18-yard scrambles when they're there.
Yeah.
Give me him. I like the Colts.
I think I'm gonna take the Colts too. I know at some point the Saints are gonna flash back and mellow out. I don't think their season's over by any means, but they are in a rough spot and it's hard to pick them right now. And I don't know. The Colts are coming off a great game against the Browns in which they were right there. If their defense plays the way they were and the offense can move the ball, I mean, it's gonna be a recipe for success. And they're right behind the Jags. They're right in it.
I like the Colts.
I like the Colts too. I've been a fan of them, and that was with Anthony Richardson. Minshew's been proving he can still play. He can ball. I like the Colts this week.
I think Minshew gives them a chance to make the playoffs.
Man, I think for that division, it's tough. I think they have to win the division there.
Yeah, definitely. I really think.
I mean, the Jags, if they slip up a couple games, it's open. And the Texans can make an argument too.
Yeah.
They've been playing great, and we're gonna get to them pretty soon.
Right now.
Yeah.
Texans, Panthers.
I like the Texans.
This is
this. I like the Texans here.
I do too, but this is a sleeper opportunity for the Panthers to get their first win, only because
Is it though?
I mean, it's the two rookie quarterbacks going against each other.
That's a great matchup in its own.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud.
This could be a trap. I'm taking the Texans, but this could be a trap.
It could be, but they're getting Tank Dell back. They're coming off a bye. I mean, the Panthers just haven't gotten to where they want to be yet, and I don't know if this will be the week they get the win. C.J. Stroud plays really good quarterback. You know, he's only thrown the one pick. He's been moving the ball well. He's getting it to the receivers. Nico Collins and Tank Dell have been having a great year, and that was with the injury to Tank Dell. I like what I'm seeing out of them. I think Schultz gets involved a little more here too. I like the Texans. They've been really good this year.
I like the Texans too there. We have Browns Seahawks in Seattle, first of the 4 o'clock window.
This is tough. This is a tough game.
That is a tough game.
I think I like Seattle here. Just because I don't know if the defense can do enough in this game. Like the defense did a lot in the last game, and then they still were in it. That Seattle's offense, I would say on paper, is better than the Colts.
Yeah.
I would not want to face DK and Tyler Lockett and JSN. I mean, it's a tough team to play against.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like Seattle here. I think their offense is going to be a little bit too much. Denzel Ward, he may or may not play, and I think that's a big big factor.
Loss, yeah.
If he's there, I mean, he can maybe kind of cover DK, take him out of the game, or
DK is also dealing with a little injury too. He didn't play last week,
so we'll see there.
Yeah.
I like the Seahawks though. I think.
I do too.
Bengals 49ers in San Francisco. That's an interesting game.
Bengals coming off the bye.
Yeah, the Bengals will probably do a little better than maybe anticipated there, but the 49ers are pretty tough.
They're in the weeds right now, though.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I think I'm just going to take the Niners out of, it being the 49ers.
Yeah.
I hate picking. This game's tough. This honestly was my Super Bowl preview before the season started. It's tough. These bye weeks throw me off because I want to forget all the bad that's come out of the Bengals and only think, wow, they beat Seattle and they stuck around long enough to do it. But not seeing them play week to week hurts. And we've seen the Niners lose 2 in a row to teams that nobody thought was going to beat them. So I think the Niners have to right the ship at some point.
Right.
So give me the Niners.
I'm going to take the Bengals here. I think that the Niners are just in a tough place, and I think the extra rest is going to help Burrow, especially the calf.
I think that's huge.
I think we just see a nice 300-yard game out of Burrow and he'll get the passing offense, get the Niners out of the sets they're comfortable in, not allow them to blitz as much, and just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get the passing attack going. I like the Bengals.
Okay.
Chiefs Broncos. It's probably an easier one.
Yes.
Chiefs are gonna dominate the Broncos. The Broncos are not a good football team. They had a bit of a close game, 19-8, low scoring.
Yeah, it was just low scoring. I
wouldn't anticipate that again. Yeah, I'd say maybe they get a couple more touchdowns this time.
Yeah.
Ravens Cardinals. Ravens probably gonna win here. They
Ravens by a lot.
They take care of business in the games. They don't really mess around with these types of teams.
I think they'll play down a little bit because I've noticed they play down to certain teams.
Yeah.
So I don't see it being a complete blowout, but I do see the Ravens getting the win.
Yeah,
there.
I think they'll be comfortable.
Yeah.
2 possession, 10 point.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Bears Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Should be interesting. Big opportunity for Bajent. Obviously, he's going to be going against a bit of a better defense. The Chargers are 8.5-point favorites in this game, which I think is way too big.
It's funny because they're saying they're a better defense, but they are ranked 32nd in the league right now.
Yeah.
And it's not. I wouldn't go that far either. It's just because how much numbers they've given up. I do think there's worse defenses out there. But that being said, I'm taking the Chargers here. I don't know if if Bajent can show enough
Yeah.
to beat this team. And a lot of respect for him last week. This is a different beast.
Right. 8.5 is a crazy spread. Just in my opinion, it will not be like that. But like, I don't know. I'm gonna just take the Bears just for fun.
Okay.
And like,
it's possible. I mean, if this kid's really all that, he could.
And I'm just pretty confident that he's just gonna be kind of cool. The only way that I honestly see the Bears not winning, honestly, is if the pressure gets to him.
Yeah.
Like if he gets like scared. But I just don't see that really happening. I honestly think the Bears are going to win this game.
I think the run game, like I said earlier, has to show up for this one.
The run game? Yeah. I think it
needs
will.
to be there for him.
The Bears have ran on every single team, basically. They have one of the best running attacks in the league. I think that this is like kind of a sneaky good money line if you're into that. Raiders, Lions in Detroit.
I don't think this gets.
Yeah, no.
I don't think this gets much easier of a pick.
Interesting that this is a Monday night game. I don't
know who put that on the schedule and said that was a good idea.
Yeah, the Lions are gonna win, and
Lions gonna win comfortably at home. I think that's a great bounce back game for them.
Yeah, that game never could have been. There's never a time where somebody could have thought that was gonna be a good game.
Where did people think that?
Yeah.
This was, I mean, maybe if Jimmy G wasn't hurt at some point and they won a couple more, but
yeah, that's just a really.
In my opinion, I think. Maybe there's like potential the Raiders offense could have been really, really good. I mean, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, but like they should have known better.
I agree. But
I know.
That's how the cookie
they shouldn't.
So yeah, both of us take the Lions. I think that's a pretty easier one.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. If you want to hop into some NBA season predictions.
NBA season predictions? I would love to.
Hell yeah.
I would really love
do
to.
Start in Eastern Conference or the Western Conference.
I'd like to start in the Eastern Conference. That's where my Celtics are going to be, I think, owning their domain. I've got them at the 1 seed.
Okay.
I see them winning more than 60 games this year.
All right.
Maybe it's like that 62 mark, 63. I don't want to give them like higher because that is tough to do.
It's a lot.
But I love what they have on the roster. They're so deep in terms of coming off the bench. They've got Al Horford coming off the bench, and I think that's huge. Derek White, Drew Holiday are so pesky on defense. It is going to be very hard to shoot on them. And, I mean, we've got, in my opinion, humbly, the best player in the world, Jason Tatum. I love Jason Tatum so much, and MVP type year has been in the discussions past couple. This might be the one finally. I mean, if they get the record, I think, and he's the front runner, I mean, it's his team. I really do love Tatum in that spot.
Yeah, no, the Celtics are going to be good. I have them at 2.
Yeah,
I have the
that's
Bucks ahead. I think they're both great. I mean, they were within a game of each other last year.
It was
This
so
isn't
close.
This isn't me necessarily saying I'm Bucks over Celtics. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I have the Bucks also at over 60 wins.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna come down to the last couple games.
No, I agree. I think they're both. It's gonna be the type of race, and the Celtics almost kind of gave it to the Bucks last year, right? Yeah,
they did give it to them. And I don't know that might have been on purpose. A little
yeah,
bit.
that's
like,
what I thought. That's what I thought.
They rested players in their game against them,
right?
And they
were
took
okay with
seat.
it because they didn't want to play the Heat.
Yeah,
and that made sense.
It looked like we were going to get the Heat regardless because of how they played that first one.
Yeah.
They should have won the play-in game in the first place to get us.
To get the
So I mean, it was a weird approach. I think it boiled down to not wanting certain teams along.
Yeah.
It didn't matter because it worked out.
Yeah, you never want to get in the business of picking your matchup because you don't want to give your opponent too much motivation.
And the play-in thing is really tough.
Yeah.
But it just felt like they didn't want the 1 seed, and it turned out maybe that was for the best. But
for my pick for the 3 seed, I'm taking the Cavs.
I also have the Cavs.
Yeah.
I think their team has a really good core, really, really good core, and I really like what they bring. Darius Garland's one of my favorite players to watch. Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. That's a good 4 to have right there. I really like what they bring, and I think they jump the team that I'm going to have probably lower than you in the Sixers. So I have them also at the 3. Who do you got at the 4?
Honestly, there's a lot of teams you could put up there. This might just blow you away. I have the Pacers actually up there.
Okay.
They're one of the teams I think they make a big jump this year.
They've got a young team.
Halliburton, I think, is he's just one of my favorite players in the entire NBA.
Such a good leader.
Might get something out of Matherin here. Miles
Celtic,
Turner.
Aaron Nesmith just got an extension there. He's a fun player to watch.
Buddy Hield. I just like what they got going. Yeah. I think they're just a good unit, and I think they're going to be a good regular season team. And I've been kind of waiting for them to make the playoffs for a few years now, and I think they kind of jump.
I have a potentially might be a surprising pick too. I have the Knicks in the 4 seed.
Okay.
Last year they were in that race. They play really well together. They've got that Villanova unit going on, and I actually really think that's smart to do. I think they're going to have really good chemistry on the court. They can rely on each other easier. They've got young guys that I think are going to take the steps that get them to that place. I mean, Emmanuel Quickley is really good. Quentin Grimes is getting more time. So I like what the Knicks bring to the table.
Gotcha. I have them at 5, so I have them right there too.
So you
I
do
think
have
Brunson's
them right
a good player. I believe in the Knicks.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of Julius Randle, but
I'm not either, but he's good enough for them. Like what they have, like they've been clamoring to trade him for a couple of years now, but like what are you going to get for him? I don't know.
Right.
He works for them right now, and I would keep him if I'm a Knicks organizational member there.
I agree.
So that's your 5. I'm hurting because like somewhere I have to fit the 76ers. They're good enough.
Right.
So I think I'm going to slot them right below. What is this? Is that my 5?
I think so.
Yeah. So I think I put them at 5. Joel Embiid and Maxey, I think, are enough to win you games. I think the James Harden drama is what's going to lower their win count, and I just don't think they're as good as they were last year. I didn't think they were in the race as much as people put them there. I just like for me as looking outside on the Philadelphia franchise, I'm not too high on them. Like I haven't been. I don't think they are championship caliber as much as they'll win a lot of games. And for that I have them at the 5 seed. I think they will win games, but not that much to which they're in that argument as much anymore.
I have similar feelings on the Sixers in general. Like they're kind of almost like leaving their window. Like you always have it when you have Embiid, but they kind of like they had a lot of assets. Like if we want to go back to like 2017, and they didn't make much of them.
No.
And they're kind of dealing with the consequences of that now. I have them at 6 too.
You have them at 6.
Yeah, okay. I don't have huge expectations for them. I have the Heat at 7.
Okay.
I expect them to maybe have to deal with the play-in stuff a little bit. That's 7, 8, 9, and 10, right?
Yeah, play-in.
Yeah, so
play-in.
I think that they'll be in that kind of conversation. I think that's like a Heat, Raptors, kind of Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks going to be a team to watch. I have, let's see, at the 6, I think I have the Nets.
Okay. Nets too.
The Nets, I think, like last year they benefited off of not having to do too much to get into the playoffs. Like they had that big 2 until they traded them. I still think they're going to be okay, and I think they might just avoid the play-in by playing enough games well. But like that might just be me being too high on them from last year. I just think their group worked well together. And we might see shades of like that run they had with D'Lo and all them. Like they were just fun to watch. And we might be entering that age again. I don't know. They just don't have like a big star player there anymore that you're like, oh, it's Kevin Durant. You know, it's so I do like their team at the 6 there. And I also have the Heat at 7, but I do think they win their play-in game this year. But, like, again, their team is just not as strong as it was last year. Jimmy Butler's not getting any younger, and we know he comes alive during the playoff time, but they do have to make the playoffs for him to get there first.
Right. That's the biggest thing for them.
Yep. So, yeah, I could see a rematch between them and the Hawks for that seed again, and I could see the Hawks getting the 8. I mean, then again, we're looking just at the same matches we had last year. If my bracket's the same, Celtics-Hawks again, maybe. And then, Bucks versus the Heat. I mean, you could have a lot of those rematches coming, and that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I see something like that. I see kind of just like a close kind of.
Yeah.
I see a lot of teams being in that 43.
It's tough because, the play-in tournament does change a lot. And, I see the Pacers making the play-in as, like, the 9 or 10 slot. And I think the Bulls figure it out and kind of get there. I think they get to the play-in. I don't know if they make enough moves to actually advance in to get a shot, but I see them just being on the cusp again.
Yeah, I'm not high on the Bulls.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'd like them to honestly go for the tank.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're not too good.
It's tough. I just don't here's for me, I just don't see the Magic. The Raptors potentially, I just don't like them as much this year. And then Pistons, Wizards, I just don't see them making the play-in.
Yeah.
I just don't. But you never know. How about you?
Right.
Who do you guys rounding out the play-in?
I got in terms of the finals, I have Heat in there, I got the Hawks in there, I got the Raptors in there, and then in terms of a final team, could be the Wizards. I don't love what they got going on, to be honest. Magic.
Kuzman and Poole should be fun.
Could be the Magic. Honestly, that's like the team of any team. Like, if I had to choose to play on an NBA team, the one I would choose last is the Washington Wizards because they're the Kuz. And I just feel like you never get the ball.
Yeah, I don't see that going around much.
Yeah. So, yeah, probably not them. Probably the Magic, to be honest.
Yeah, they do have a good young core there. So, it's possible.
Over in the Western Conference, I think the Nuggets.
I think the Nuggets have, again, 60 wins. I think they are going to be miles ahead of the rest of the league in terms of the Western Conference. And then at the 2, I have the Suns.
Okay.
Their roster is very good. I like what they can bring. They're just a good team, man. Like that big 4 they've got going on now. They traded for Beal. I think he's going to put them up there. How about you?
It's hard to call the West in general.
It
is.
Terms
of, I honestly, I'm going to say right now, and this is crazy, the Pelicans. If everyone stays healthy, I think that the Pelicans would be a really good regular season team. I think the Kings would be a good regular season team, and the Grizzlies. That doesn't mean playoffs. The West is so much different. It's you can't count on the top teams to be at the top of the conference. They're just going for 6th.
Yeah.
They just want to avoid the play-in ultimately because there's not a huge difference between the 1 seeds or the 3 seed and the 6 seed and the 2 seed and the 4 seed in the West.
Yeah, it's going to be close, but I just think when it comes to the Nuggets, it won't be close.
Right.
I think they're gonna be the first team to have clinched a seed as first place. I think they'll be set.
So I got the Nuggets, then the Pelicans, and then probably the Grizzlies.
See, I don't have the Grizzlies as high.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, Nuggets, Suns, and then I'm gonna take the Kings. They had a great season last year. I think they build on it. 3 seeds pretty good. Can they win a series? We'll see. I think that'll be tough for them, but if they get to the 3rd seed, they're doing something right.
Right.
At 4, I think I like the Warriors. Warriors are going to be good no matter what, in my opinion. I just know they'll be somewhere 4 to 6.
Yeah, I got them at 4 too. I got them at 4.
They're going to win games, and it's the Warriors we're talking about. They'll be there. It's just can they make it?
Agreed. I got the Kings at 5, so
rematch.
Got the same sorts of
rematch with the Warriors having home court.
Right.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got the Lakers.
Okay.
I think that they do a little better than last year. They were kind of limped into the playoffs last year, but I got them there. And then I like the Thunder. Yeah,
I'm high on the Thunder this year.
Yeah.
I'm high on the Thunder, and I'm high on the Timberwolves, which is they're going to round out 5 and 6 for me. I've got the Thunder going 5 and the Timberwolves going at 6.
Okay.
I like their young culture. I really like what the Thunder's got going on. If they can keep winning games all year, they're going to be fun to watch regardless. And the Timberwolves, I think, also bring that sort of energy. So that's 5 and 6. I think I got the Lakers as 7. they're going to have to go through a play-in game. I think they're just not going to be healthy all year, and that's going to lose them games. And I think also a team that's going to have to play through the play-in is going to be the Grizzlies. 25 games without Ja hurts you. But I really like the addition of Marcus Smart, so I think defensively they'll be okay. But that third of the year is going to hurt, I think, until Ja gets back. And if Ja can stay straight and play, that's great. But if he suffers another suspension or gets in more drama, they're doomed. So
Agreed.
That's why I'm putting them in that play-in situation.
Agreed. I got the Timberwolves in the play-in. I got the Jazz in the play-in.
Okay.
I got the Clippers in the play-in. I have the Mavs missing.
Yeah.
Kyrie and Luka is
I don't
idiotic.
like it either. I don't like it either. I think Kyrie probably gets traded at the deadline if somebody wants him, but he is, in my opinion, a cancer to any franchise that picks him up.
I agree.
But I do think they're going to be the 10s. I think they scratched the surface of the play-in. I think it's too much for them to get out of.
Yeah.
I have them and the Clippers in the play-in, meaning that the Spurs, I don't think they have enough yet.
Agreed.
Wemby's going to need a lot. I like what the Rockets have, but I don't see them making it. I don't know about the Trailblazers. I just think they're in a weird rebuild situation.
I agree.
They're going to be hurting. And the Jazz, I think, will not be anywhere near what they were last year. And that's I think they were lucky last year, and I think this year it kind of catches back up.
Gotcha.
You know? So that's all I got for the NBA.
Yeah.
I think we're in for a good season. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got for the NBA too. It's been a good talk. That's it for episode 8 of the Blowout Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next week.